I have been saying this for months now, but can we please confiscate the phones? I think it was poet and prophetess Issa Rae who said will embarrass you. Chili, what the are you doing on these social medias? What are you following? Who are you paying attention to that you would even accidentally repost some AI edit of Michelle Obama as a whole ass man? I'm gonna need for you to really explain. I know. Chili has posted since all of this has gone down. Oh, and if you don't know what's going down, over the weekend it has been exposed that TLC, not Tender Love and Care, not TLC of My 600 Pound Life fame, but TLC, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, Chili, brown skin with the water wave, is MAGA. Chili, what the do you got going on, girl? Chili has since posted a video.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for Michelle Obama, and I would never say or do anything that is disrespectful to her or to any woman. I would never do that.
Saying that she doesn't believe in MAGA and that she supports veterans and that, she doesn't stick for MAGA and she doesn't stand for any of the hateful rhetoric or policies that they are pushing out. But, Chili, this is not our first rodeo. You donating to Donald Trump's campaign because you thought Donald Trump was going to end human trafficking. Now, I understand that Chili looks like a baby and has looked like a baby forever. But I'll give Chili I'll cut her a little bit of slack because Chili's like basically like a boomer. She's like Gen X, right? So this is an old gal. This is an old lady. So her kind of on the phones, I understand. I even empathize with that. I used to feel like I was like technologically advanced in like 2008, when the most I had to do was like copy and paste some HTML code to my MySpace profile. But these phones and these services have gotten a little, too hot to handle for me. But girl, get off of your phone. What are you even following that this is what you would land on? The picture of Michelle Obama is like a picture of Barack and Michelle when they were like young, and they have put Michelle's face through Face app, and she looks like some named Greg. And this is like a long-standing like thing where people have been calling Michelle Obama a man, which is just like boring ass misogynoir and like who cares? But it just will embarrass you. And I've been wanting to talk about this for years now, but I am convinced. Oops, sorry. I'm convinced that Nick Cannon is on a personal mission to embarrass my queen, my goddess, who just celebrated her anniversary of her birth, Mariah Carey. Nick Cannon, why are you driving around Amber Rose's bald-headed ass?
Guess what? If there's a time where I don't agree, I'll say I don't agree.
Yeah.
I'm
we
not.
got the Gulf of America now.
Period.
He charging, he like the club. He charging a $5 million bottle service fee to get into the country.
I know. Listen.
With Trump.
But guess what? Look.
Question number one. I think it's for a show. I don't know. I don't watch Nick Cannon. I find Nick Cannon to be handsome, and I did notice that he was pretty well endowed when he was covering for Wendy Williams. I thought he was going to get like the Sherry Shepherd spot. But I think that Cannon might be a little too freaked out because I shouldn't have seen his big ass slacks on like a daytime talk show. And he has like, how many kids does Nick Cannon have now? I only count the two that he has with my goddess, and I only count them because of her. If I could pretend that Nick Cannon did not exist, I would. I just feel like, why over this weekend are we talking about Nick Cannon and his ah I don't know how much I care about people being Democrats or Republicans, but like Amber Rose and her Caillou looking ass sitting in that car talking about she voted for Donald Trump because Democrats don't give a about people of color and black people. And this, I always think of Jocelyn. Like, your problem is you really want to be a white girl.
Your problem is that you really want to be a white girl.
Amber Rose, you really want to be a white girl. But like Bob Barker said, you all these you are tainted, okay? And you can't wash that tinge of ooh, I'm sorry. You cannot wash that tinge of blackness out of your skin from whatever ancestor of yours 6 generations back. And those crikers only want you to piss black people off. They are not talking to your bald-headed ass. You have a tattoo on your forehead. Get real. You were eating Kanye West's ass for a come up. I'm sorry. I don't mean to call you. I mean to call you Caillou. But anyway, I need Nick Cannon to stop. Like, every time Nick Cannon talks, especially recently, I feel like I've been suffering Nick Cannon for years. You know, I'm turning 34 on Tuesday. Nick Cannon was on All That, Up in Drags, which I must say, I live for the drags. When him and Keenan were in the drags, I thought they looked so great. You know, I'm a sucker for a 90s hairstyle. They had the big, like, it was like spritz, it was like nails, it was like, I live for it. But I have been suffering Nick Cannon. Now it feels like for decades. He was in All That, and then he had Wild 'N Out, which I loved Wild 'N Out except for him. And do y'all remember that anti-abortion music video Nick Cannon had?
$300, that's the price of living? What? Mommy, I don't like this clinic.
I think about that a lot, but that's all beside the point. When he came out, I think a couple years ago, saying that he is a, like, actual narcissist, not in like this fun buzzwordy way that everybody likes to use to talk about their asshole partners who won't text them back or who go silent when they're upset with them. Like a actual diagnosed narcissist.
As a narcissist and all that, like I would like that's the type of stuff was like
You thought that was cute?
Yeah, like yeah,
You
my
got clinically
ego.
diagnosed?
Yeah.
The
did not
TikTok
know
girlies
that.
is gonna love that.
I don't know why I didn't know you got clinically
Nah,
diagnosed.
How
it's
do you die? Like, how does that work?
It's a process. You
I look at everything he does through that lens. You cannot convince me that all those kids he has and all of this just generally embarrassing egghead bird brain he does is not to embarrass Mariah Carey. The story that I have made up in my head is that she said, you know what, I'm actually good on you. Like, yes, you know I love that big ass of yours, but you play around. You done got all these no names pregnant, and now my kids have to call these nobody babies brother and sister, and I don't want you no more. I don't want nothing to do with you or that big, gorgeous of yours. I've never seen the I'm assuming it's a gorgeous I don't think Nick Cannon is an ugly man. I just think he is a buffoon, you know? And I want him, I want him to go, like, maybe he should just take up producing, you know, maybe even directing. Like, do we have to see Nick Cannon so much? Like, I thought they canceled him or shut his down years ago for being anti-Semitic. What happened to that? Bring that back. I'm tired of it. But again, will embarrass you. And nobody knows that more right now than Mariah Carey and Erica Kirk. I just want to shout out to Drewski for having some of the most beautiful hands I have seen on a man in a long time. Did you see the video? Of course you saw the video. I think Drewski just single-handedly got white chicks to greenlit.
I serve a righteous God, and that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
I have watched that video at least 400 times now. You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen The Mask with Jim Carrey? Not the mask that they were alleging, you know, he was wearing and that French award show like last month, or was that this month? Time is completely, I have no concept of time whatsoever. People will say, oh, I haven't talked to you in, I don't know, in a week or 2 weeks or a month. It all kind of feels the same to me. I don't know if it's because of this Mercury retrograde, which appears to be the worst Mercury retrograde in my recent history, but I just do not have a concept of time. What was I talking about? Drewski. Yes. If you ever seen The Mask, with Jim Carrey, like Jim Carrey puts on the mask and he's smoking and all of that stuff. But at the end, the antagonist dude, he recently passed away, but he puts on the mask at the end and it don't look the same when he puts the mask on. What a rush. Like he puts the mask on and his head, like the width of his head grows like at least like 10 centimeters or some. It's wild. That is what Drewski in that white supremacist Barbie geesh gave me. It was so funny. It was almost uncanny, but it was also kind of terrifying. I appreciate the kind of backlash that this has garnered. I think especially after having to sit through years and years and years and years and years of comedians and owning about the fact that they were not funny and all they could do is punch down and people didn't want to hear it anymore. I do appreciate seeing a lot of people from that crowd up in arms about his depiction of Erica Kirk in her time of mourning and in her succeeding Charlie Kirk in his role and, you know, taking on the mantle and doing her thug thizzle, basically. That's been bringing me a bunch of joy. But something that I did notice, I've been on Threads a lot lately. I really like Threads. When it first came out, I wasn't too big of a fan of Threads. It felt like a support group. It was like everybody left X. They were like, oh my gosh, it's Elon and he's bought it and he's going to turn it into whatever. And, you know, we're like radical and we're liberal and like we won't stand for that and we're not going to line his pockets. We're not going to support it. So people went to Threads and I just felt like it was just like constant, like virtue signaling. It was just constant. Like it just was not a cute place to be, but the people have warmed it up and I really like Threads. I again have forgotten what I was talking about. Oh right. But I was on Threads scrolling and I saw Jamie Kennedy of Malibu's Most Wanted and Scary Movie fame, posting a picture of him from the Jamie Kennedy Experience, a show that used to come on in prehistoric times, where he did a lot of skits, and one of the skits he did was like blackface. The caption was like, "Oh well, if Drewski can do it, so can I." And my thought to that is, Jamie, is you did it already. Like, what is this obsession with being head ass in public right now? Like, I understand that Donald Trump has opened the floodgates, and the he speaks to, some of the worst parts of who we are, and makes it easier for people to kind of embody. But it's like, you were already a marsupial looking, head ass, racist white dude or anti-black white dude. You didn't need Drewski's permission. I think one thing that has been really bothering me about this regime, one thing that has been really bothering me just about kind of like the backlash to Obama's presidency, and to like the Black Lives Matter movement, is that so much of white people's isn't even like their own. Like, it's like some type of weird, diluted, like, version of what they saw. Like, I like, even like Blue Lives Matter, for instance. Like, y'all couldn't come up with a different slogan. Like, all lives matter. You see Drewski and Erica Kirk-Geish, and y'all are like, okay, let me get in blackface. Like, well, who pioneered blackface? Y'all did that already. This whole regime is in response to a black man being the president of the United States and being beloved for 8 years until today. Like, it is literally anything you can do, I can do better. It is head assery of the highest degree. And I think that more than the bigotry, it's that. Like, it's just not original. Like, come up with your own. But anyway, I don't want to spend all my time talking about these. Everybody's gonna get theirs. That's pretty much the long and the short of it for me with this regime. Everybody's gonna get theirs. It's cute now. It's cute now. Shout out to Minnesota. Minnesota said, y'all take that somewhere. I'm thinking about the airports right now. I'm thinking about ICE, being deployed to the airports. And I'm just thinking about how everybody thinks, well, not everybody, a lot of people just think this is a game. It's not going to touch them. You can align with this and you will be safe. And some people will be safe. But we are seeing this is not a regime that gives a about you. This is a regime that gives a about itself. This is a regime that gives a about power. Absolute power is what it is in pursuit of. So it's fun. It's all fun and games now, but this is not trying to leave this White House. I am of the belief that we just do not have the time that we think we do. And maybe I'll spend the next 3 years saying that, and we do have the time and it's fine. But it's just all fun and games for now. I'm thinking of this war, how this war is exacerbating our already our climate. She's like, I've had it to here with you, and then y'all want to start dropping more bombs. All fun and games until you can't get any clean drinking water. All fun and games until you can't get any food to eat. All fun and games until the soil is and little Timmy is not gonna survive. It's all fun and games until people are living until they're 22 years old again. That's where this is heading. And Jamie Kennedy, I know you got some coins, but girl, you ain't that safe either. Come on. Get with the winning team, ho, or at least shut the up. But Chili, worst timing. You've got some of the worst timing in the world, honey. Like, y'all are trying to go on a whole tour. Pockets is already strapped. Beyonce and Sacred and put out a new styling collection. Jay-Z's headlining some at the Yankee Stadium. He's doing something. And you know Beyonce's about to go on tour. Pockets are already strapped. Like, yeah, people want to see Salt and Pepper. People want to see En Vogue. People want to see TLC. But girl, we could sit that out. I want to believe, Chili, that you really didn't know. But I'm also just like, how the did you come upon that anyway? But in other news, Cardi B brought out Lil' Kim to her Madison Square Garden show in New York City.
Here we go again! No! Yes! I know that's right, bitch! Yeah!
I think on what day was that? Was that March 26th? Was that March 26th? That date has been in my head for some reason. Like something else was supposed to be happening on March 26th, but I can't quite remember. Shout out to Cardi B. I love Cardi B. Cardimus Benthus is what I call her affectionately. I'm not so sure she would love that, but her name is already like Belcalis or some so, you know, hey. But I love Cardi B. I think Cardi B is the one. She's just such a sweetheart, she seems to be, you know. She also just released her new hair care line, Grow Good. Baby, they sold that out, I think, the first day. She's the one. I think I grew up with Nicki Minaj. I mean, I grew up with Lil' Kim. I grew up with Queen Latifah. I grew up with a lot of, you know, different female rappers. But Nicki Minaj, you know, she was like the modern female rapper, you know. And I grew up with Nicki Minaj, and I loved Nicki Minaj. You know, may she rest in peace. But I love Nicki Minaj so much. And it was fun, you know. It was kind of like, what's going on here when she was on American Idol and arguing with Mariah here.
Why are you sitting out there running down the record every 5 minutes? Every time you take a shot at me, I'm going to take it back. And if you got a problem, handle it.
I didn't think too much of it, just that maybe they just, you know, they just didn't get along. But as like Cardi B's career, as Megan Thee Stallion's career, as Lotto's career even continues, you kind of get to see that behind the scenes, this is probably what was always happening to some degree with Nicki Minaj. And I know, you know, Lil' Kim did warn us. She warned us, you know, she said, you know, FedEx be straight to your front door. She was on The Breakfast Club telling us, like, you know, pay homage.
No doubt. But at the end of the day, you still the OG, and I would love to see embrace
the OG
generation.
All of that, because that has nothing to do with it when it comes to respect and when it comes to matter of fact. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. When a chick, let me tell you something, I'm gonna leave this on this note. You will see. Everything in the dark comes to the light. That's all I gotta say.
And don't you pay homage when you come up behind the baddest, and that's not just Trina. You come up behind the Queen Bee, you Lil' Kim clone clown. You pay homage. Lil' Kim told us. A lot of people listen. I didn't listen. I didn't listen. I was boom, 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 band. Okay? I really with Nicki Minaj heavy, and it's sad. It's sad that this is how it's all ending for her. But I'm so happy that she did at least open up some doors so that people like Cardi and Megan could fly through them. Like, I think not since Lil' Kim have we seen like female rappers that are just beloved like this. I would say Lil' Kim and Queen Latifah, but like I feel like, okay, so Meg is like in my head, Megan is like Queen Latifah. Megan is going to and is transcending just being a rapper. Megan is like just a star, and Megan is like, she's acting. My girl is on Broadway right now. Like, Megan just did a commercial with Nickelback, which, holy shit, the lead singer of Nickelback, I did not recognize him at all. I don't know if it's this new haircut. I don't know if it's fillers. I don't know what's going on. It caught me off guard, but he doesn't look bad. I just was like, wow, who the is that? But she just did this fabulous commercial with Cheetos and Hot Cheetos and Nickelback. It's epic.
You haven't tried these yet?
No.
Chad.
Okay. I get it.
I was like, wow, like Megan is like just a classic celebrity, like a Dolly Parton, like a Queen Latifah, like these people that just are just loved. And then Cardi B is very similar to, like, she's also standing in the light for sure of Lil' Kim, like the fashion alone.
You know the difference between vintage and archive, like. Yeah, look, now I spit that other pretty Cardi B.
She's just got her nails on the culture in such a particular way. And her album, Am I the Drama? I have literally cried to that album. These are two women who have gone through so much in the public eye too, and like Megan with the court case and just being awful and vile to her, just vile to her. And of course, I don't know these ladies behind the scenes, but I'm very inspired by them. And I really love them, and I'm really happy that Cardi paid homage to the Queen Bee. Lil' Kim looked fabulous. People are always debating about Lil' Kim's face and her surgeries or whatever. First of all, y'all don't give a shut up. But also, she looked amazing. She is so little. If you saw her behind the scenes, I was like, is Lil' Kim like 4'8"? Like, that is a tiny little diva. She has earned the Lil. I think you need to be as Lil as Lil' Kim to call yourself Lil, or else, it's just weird. But yeah, shout out to Cardi B and shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. And when Cardi brought Meg out in Houston, I was so happy because it seemed like they didn't speak as much anymore. It seemed like maybe they weren't as close. Again, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but they did seem to orbit around each other for a little bit. And I had wondered if there had been a falling out, or anything like that. This happens with divas. Speaking of divas, last week I was talking about Chappelle Roan, and her also. It's Chappelle Roan, okay? I have had people trying to tell me otherwise. I don't want to hear that. I can hear, it's Chappelle Roan. When I first saw her name, I was like, who the Chappelle Roan? People are like, it's Chappelle. And I'm like, excuse me? It's Chappelle Roan. I'm not changing that. I like Chappelle Roan. This is the only Chappelle I recognize because, like Nicki Minaj, Dave Chappelle died years ago for me. Well, Nicki Minaj died like a couple years ago. Well, that's still years ago. Whatever. I was talking about Chappelle Roan and the controversy in Brazil around the little girl allegedly, you know, coming to her table and, you know, her security guard coming to the table with her and her mom and basically being like, if you do that again, I'm going to put you in that little headlock. And I don't know what actually happened there, but I do think, you know, every celebrity isn't going to be the same. Every star isn't going to be the same. I think variety is okay. And I think, you know, we could stand to have some more diva behavior. I am a firm believer that we are in an actual diva drought right now. Like, I think social media and like just accessibility, like we're all so accessible all the time. And I think famous people, though yes, I understand that is partially a part of the gig. Like some of being known and beloved is that you give up some of your creature comforts around, you know, just being interacted with, or people wanting pictures, autographs, just wanting your energy. I do get that. But I'm also just like, she's a musician, you know? Like, I think if Miss Rachel was somewhere and her security told a little girl that she was going to put her and her mom in a headlock if they walked over to her table again, that would be a major cause for concern for me. But I think Chappelle Roan, like, she makes music and she wears like beautiful, elaborate, clown-esque makeup. Like she had like a dress on, was that the Grammys? That looked like it was straight out of The Cell. You know, you remember The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, and that wasn't Vince Vaughn. Was that Vince Vaughn? I always get, no. It wasn't Vince Vaughn. It was the dude from Law and Order Criminal Intent, the like creepy dude. I always get him and Vince Vaughn confused. But she had a dress straight out of The Cell on. I mean, she doesn't strike me as someone who is particularly like warm, maybe. I don't know that she has to be. I think of like paparazzi. I think a lot of people don't remember how bad like paparazzi and used to be. Princess Diana comes to mind, like literally died at the hands of paparazzi. That might be an oversimplification. I'm not sure. But I know paparazzi they had something to do with the car crash that ultimately killed Princess Diana. I think of Britney Spears. How relentless they were. Like, my girl Britney was having breakdowns, you know, she was going through stuff. She's crying in her car and the lights are so bright because the paparazzi is just carrying on her. And I'm even thinking about, I have such a clear picture as Halle Berry. I want to say, oh my gosh, I didn't look it up. I'm thinking of it. So I want to say she's in like a maroon dress. This is when Halle Berry had her baby, Nala, I believe. And this is Shortcut Halle, Shortcut Pixie Halle. This is probably like 2007, 2008 maybe, where she comes out and she like reads paparazzi her life.
Carlos, abrí. Okay, we're back.
And not to say that this little girl was paparazzi and her mom was paparazzi, but just to say everybody don't always feel like doing that. And I think that can be okay. You know, I don't think I don't think that's the end of the world. I think especially when you're a musician, especially when you're a musician that makes music about like that is like, yes, kids may love, but you aren't necessarily making music for kids. So yeah, I mean that's my hot take on Chappelle Roan. I've only listened to, you know, I've only listened to I think it's Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I think it's Pink Pony Club, the one that I listened to. I liked it. It's a good song. She's not necessarily my era, you know. Like there are a lot of up and coming stars that I'm just like, I don't know who the this is, and it's pretty jarring. I'm turning 34 on Tuesday. I'm turning 34 at the end of this month. I don't know if I said that already. But it is pretty jarring to realize that you are just not the target audience for certain things. So certain new artists and sounds have completely passed me by. Oh my God. You know, I feel like so much is awful, and so much of what is awful can be attributed to the fact that it's late stage, like capitalism, where everything just sucks, and like the people who have a lot already want more because they know hitting the fan. And I'm saying all this because have you seen The Rock in this live action Moana trailer? The Rock is wearing like an Outry Shake and Go 1B like wavy synthetic unit as he reprises his role of Maui in the live action adaptation of the Moana film. And I just want to know why. And a lie also don't care who tell it, because the Rock, I mean, following the justified backlash, because in my opinion, the Rock, Maui is like bodied, you know, like Maui is not like a super like cut guy. Like Maui has meat on his bones and on his face. The Rock is essentially 98% muscle. So it's good when you're bald, right? It's like, that's really cute. That's really sexy, a little scrumptious even. When you throw an Outry 1B wavy shake and go on that head, it is not cute. The Rock looks gaunt. And in my opinion, The Rock looks like I said Super Saiyan Kamala Harris, but Super Saiyans are blonde. Like The Rock looks like some like extremely like roided up Kamala Harris. And this is no disrespect to Kamala Harris. I think Kamala Harris is a beautiful woman. But I think if Kamala Harris got injected by some like super alien like steroid, and she all of a sudden like beefed up into like just a super powered version of herself, like with like 98% muscle, no body fat, that this is what it would look like. I don't understand. Oh, right. I don't understand why, one, but also The Rock is lying and saying that hair, they went through, they agonized, you know, over the hair options for the film, and that is what they came up with. Maui, Moana, they had curls, like actual curls. And I don't believe for a second, like, was it had to be in the budget. Like, they could have gone to D Hair Boutique. D Hair Boutique has gorgeous Burmese curly hair. Gorgeous Burmese curly hair. They would have only had to lift it a little bit. They could have made it into a really nice unit with curls, not waves. When I tell you, there will be a picture somewhere in the edit so we can all laugh and cry together. But it's like, can we just get a break? You know? First of all, I feel like, is it not too soon to have a live action Moana again? I have no real concept of time, but I feel like it's too soon to have a live action version of Moana. And I also just don't think, like, okay, The Rock is the voice of Maui in like the animated film, but why do you have to be like, fix it? I can't even finish. Just fix it. Somebody. Like, I need the same fervor around this travesty of a unit on The Rock's head, like Sonic. When the first preview for the Sonic movie came out, honey, the gamers, the nerds who I love the nerds. I consider myself to be a nerd, but I do get confused if because I think for nerd, do you like have to like have like a like hyperfixation and like really know like a bunch of certain things? I might be a dork. I like nerd. Dork feels like a little bit of a pejorative, but I think to some nerds feel like a pejorative too. The nerds, honey, the gamers, they ripped that Sonic to shreds. That first Sonic that came out was scary. Like, Sonic is cute. Like, Sonic is like cute and like tiny and like fun. The first iteration of that Sonic, he had like, I don't know, he had like smoker's teeth. He had like smoker's teeth and like tiny eyes, and I feel like he was like 5'4" or something. Really scary stuff. And the people were not having it. Like, they were so not having it that they were like, we're gonna go back and fix it. And now Sonic is in like, there have been like 2 or 3 Sonic movies. And they're great. Well, I've only seen the first one. I really liked the first one. But yeah, I'm gonna need more of an uproar around that. In fact, I know the people are doing a gnat just flew by. What was I saying? Yeah, I mean, I know the people are at the No Folk Kings rallies, but I'm gonna need people to turn more of their attention to what's happening with The Rock in this Moana movie. I think we need to stop this, because if we allow this to happen, aren't there 2 Moana movies? I don't know. But I don't want to see The Rock in this unit again. I mean, my general point is confiscate the phones. As I sit here on a podcast mic, confiscate the podcast mics. I just saw an interview with Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, let me rock Shaka Khan. Let me rock because I feel for you. And I was just like, wow, this did not have to happen, and I think that a lot. Like, I actually don't have a lot of thoughts about it other than, wow, this could have been avoided. Yeah, I think a lot more can be avoided. I may be setting myself up for people to say, well, you could have avoided this too, because you just wasted my goddamn time. But hey, what else? What else do I want to talk about before I get out of here? Oh my gosh, how could I forget? There's a new Harry Potter movie coming out, and I need you to boycott it. Okay? I saw, what's it, Andrew Garfield? Who? Can I just say, the last Spider-Man movie I watched was with Andrew Garfield. That ass in that suit. Oh! I will always have a soft space in my heart for him. That ass was so gorgeous. I don't know if that was a part of like the CGI animation of the suit. I do have like a suit thing. Like I have like a suit. I guess it's a fetish. I do have like a suit, like a full body suit fetish, like Spider-Man suit, Deadpool. Like it's weird. Like I'm hot for them in the suit. Like it's not like, ooh, this is so sexy, take it off. It's actually like, ooh, this is so sexy. Keep this suit on. I want to make out with the suit. I want to make out with you in the suit. Okay, no, I won't take it there. But Andrew Garfield has a great ass. Oh, right. I saw Andrew Garfield like not saying J.K. Rowling's name, like, but talking about how many great people worked on Harry Potter. I don't give a I'm so sick of this, like J.K. Rowling is evil. Like, J.K. Rowling is literally funding anti-trans legislation in the UK. She is not just sharing opinions, okay? She is not just like a mean lady. She is literally funding, as Trans Lash calls it, the anti-trans hate machine. She is a part of that moving forward. You gotta boycott J.K. Rowling. I understand that she's coming out with games and new shows, and I even understand that Harry Potter, who is so cute, by the way. I don't know his name at all. Oh, yes, I do. It's Daniel Radcliffe, right? Right, Daniel Radcliffe. On that show with Megan Thee Stallion. He's super cute. I know, like, all of them have spoken out against J.K. Rowling and her chapped but I'm just like, if you own the movies, great. Watch them. But like, don't play that game. Don't put any money in this pocket. Because what are you doing, J.K. Rowling? Like, I remember when she was on Oprah years ago. And I was so moved by her story. Even though I felt like she was a little bit, like, she was kind of I just thought it was because she was like British or something. Now I'm like, oh, okay, this has hate in her heart. You write children's books. This is the I want. This is the energy. I want the energy y'all give Chappelle Roan. I want that to be given to J.K. Rowling. Because your entire is built off of the joy and the interest of children. And you are literally using that to fund hatred. Like, it was all fun and games until she was assisting in getting legislation passed in the UK. I hate that. That's my only real point about it. And boycott her new shows. Boycott her new films. Because no more money needs to go in this hoe's pockets. She had little kids reading encyclopedias.
But Rowling, the single mother and first-time author, has found some special magic of her own. And around the country tonight, children are waiting, not just to watch a movie, not for the latest CD, not even for an action toy. Just a book. That's all. And that's a lot.
Like, whole fandoms. My friends are like, oh my God, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is coming out. I'm going to put my lightning on my forehead and wear my glasses and my cape and we're going to go see it. I've always been in the know. Well, not always, but mostly. I've been in the know mostly. So I never got into Harry Potter because I think some part of me knew that one day this day would come, because it was gonna be anti-trans legislation, or it was gonna be anti-black legislation. And if you think that is far off, you are smoking, okay? Because I just don't feel like people who just have this type of energy, they don't just stop at trannies, you know? These are people that are hateful, and these are people that come from lineages and lines of hate. And trannies they're new on the conversation. It's I know underneath that tranny some in there too. Allegedly, I don't know. But anyway, boycott J.K. Rowling. Make sure she can't afford her luxury lubricant, because I know she's not making any on her own. I know when she pulls her panties down, there are flakes and ash in her panties, because that is how dry of a asshole J.K. Rowling is. What else did I want to touch on? Yeah, that was really important to me. Oh, yes. I watched the Manosphere documentary.
The stature's not saying too much.
I was entering the Manosphere, a wild frontier of streamers whose behavior is reshaping the culture.
People ask me why Miami, and I tell them because if it was 120 years ago, I'd be on a horse on the way to California to dig for gold.
Whose appeal has proved irresistible to hordes of young fans.
15 is probably like your main demographic.
No, it isn't.
They hear that content, they think it's acceptable.
The woman! What? What have I done? I'm doing it for money. I don't care about
the morality of it.
I'm not living for other people. I'm living for myself.
Wow. That's my main takeaway from that documentary. Wow. That was very revealing. It made me feel like have you ever been in detention? Have you ever been in detention with like kids that you're like, this kid is not getting any attention like at home? Like, and they are very thirsty for attention. Like almost like the kids who are laughing, but like looks like they're crying, you know? Like that is kind of how the documentary made me feel. I felt almost captive most of it. And when I wasn't feeling captive, I was feeling angry. One, I was feeling so angry for young men that these weirdos and their goddamn pyramid schemes have taken social media and the internet by storm, and that so many young men are pouring into not only the pockets of these losers, but into the ideologies that they're sharing, which are definitely like the documentarian, I can't remember his name. Again, next video I'm gonna have my names and some stuff more down packed. I'll put a picture up though. I mean, if you watched it, it's the dude with the glasses. What was his name? Was it Steven? I'm gonna call him Steven. Steven definitely pointed out that these are deeply hurt dudes, you know, that their inner children are completely running the show, like completely running the show. But so I felt captive, I felt angry, and I also just felt sad. I just felt sad. I was like, I see so much conversation, and this isn't just men, but from women, and like just all these critiques and all these rules. And I'm like, so many people are lacking connection and wanting to connect, right? Like wanting some type of meaningful connection, but going about it in all these cockamamie ways. And I just think about how little boys who like want to, like you want to be like a good dude, you know? And I think some of this manosphere stuff has been able to percolate and been able to rise up, you know, next to like the trans tipping point. I think with trans people, trans women especially being visible, way more visible, you know, I think a lot of people have leaned heavily into this kind of just late ass masculinity performance, because I don't want no soft ass boys. I don't want no boys turning into tranny. Like, oh my God, is there anything worse than that? Like, and you see, like, I feel like who they attract are these young boys who are seeing all of this kind of language and hearing about like how men are supposed to be harder and how men can't, you know, be full human beings. And this is who they, you know, land in front of. And it's just sad because these dudes are losers. Like, yes, they're able to amass wealth because of the pyramid schemes that they're running, but these are losers. The Fresh and Fit.
Do you consider yourself a misogynist?
I love women and I actually understand them.
You think you know better than they do?
They want a guy that can lead them and dominate them.
Monkey Man and Gorilla Boy, my God. I have never seen, was he only going to the gym for the documentary? Because I have never seen more atrophied, flabby arm muscles on an adult man that is actually going to the gym in my life. He literally looks like Grover from Sesame Street, Monkey Man. And I've seen so many videos of him just cussing women out and trying to cut, you know, women down to size and just being awful. I had actually never heard Gorilla Boy speak until the documentary. I'd always wondered kind of what his deal was. And when he started speaking and started sounding like Clarence Thomas, I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. Gorilla Boy. I have other names for them that I don't want to say on here today. But yeah, I don't get it. It's very much like I saw my dad beat up my mom. We were all terrified growing up. My dad would come in the house and all the joy would leave the room. And all that misplaced anger, all that unprocessed grief, all of that. I just see all of that when I saw him. I'm so glad his girlfriend was so pretty. I'm so glad she left his ass. Do you think he's got good? That's something I wonder. Because I know he got some money from what he does. But do you think the is good? I haven't looked too much into it, but I can't imagine that the is hitting on anything. I just can't. With those atrophied muscles, I just... Is there a world where the Fresh and Fit podcast guy is giving out good? I'm talking like girth, length, stamina, stroke. Do you think? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know though. I really don't know. Yeah, these are really trying times that we're living in. Really trying times. And for whatever reason, you know, we all just keep picking up more microphones. We just keep picking up more microphones and talking. But it is getting really, really scary out here. You know? Like, when Grover is sitting in front of a microphone calling, like, you da 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 da. Are there videos of him arguing with men that way? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I should probably look. I'll look into that. I haven't seen it though. But it is getting really scary out here. They say the Olympics is banning trans women from being able to participate, and that they are green lighting, you know, doing examinations on women to prove, you know, their gender. So I'm guessing this means that, you know, they're going to be doing like testosterone testing and maybe some endurance testing or whatever. And I always think of Caster Semenya.
Across the line with a time of 1:55.28, a personal best and a South African national record.
who was subjected to testing of that sort. And the suggestion was to put Caster Semenya. Caster Semenya is a cisgender woman, very deep voice. I mean, very handsome cisgender woman. That, I mean, you know, is a very masculine person, like just a masculine looking person. I think Caster could easily, if she wanted to. Is it she or they? I really probably should have done some more. I should have looked up some more stuff before I started talking. It's okay. But a very masculine looking woman, I think, could easily pass for a man if that's what she was interested in doing, but was subjected to these tests and instructed to undergo or to take some type of testosterone blocker so that her levels could be even, and so that the lily white girls that she was running against would have a fighting chance. That's what I think about when I see like this. Like, this is for white women. This is so white women have a chance, you know, to be able to keep competing. And I just hope y'all see what's going on. You know, don't let, well, you're gonna let it happen. I keep saying when things happen, like, this is what the everybody wanted. You know, everybody's so afraid of trans people being able to get a cracker, being able to get a square and a corner to live, and maybe, you know, find some love and find some upward mobility. Everybody was so disgusted by that prospect. Everybody was so disgusted by that prospect that y'all have literally been willing to open the door so the children of the Confederacy could take their country back and roll back all the progress over the past 60 years. And because you like to talk on your computers and your social medias, and because you got your degrees and you think you know everything, you think you can survive in a neo Jim Crow time when you couldn't even have survived in the first ones. People love talking about the good old days. You are 34. You don't know about the good old days. You don't know what people endured. And, you know, I have been, I'm not just talking about other people. I've said some silly ass over the years. I think especially around elections, and, you know, I know so much. Hold on, I dropped my pen. Okay. I couldn't tell if the pen was still like open. I was sitting on my ankle, child. My ankles are not strong enough for me to be sitting on my ankle like that for an hour. I'm gonna need to roll around after this. But I've said some silly ass over the years, thinking that I knew better, or that I knew, or that not that I knew better. Yeah, I guess thinking that I knew better, thinking that I could withstand kind of whatever would happen if I stopped participating in all the ways that I could participate. I think I heard this a lot with the last election. Silly ass I had said myself. Like, don't vote. There's only one party. It don't matter. Your vote don't count. And I am thankful to say that I have changed my mind, and I have grown around that, because even if you don't think a tool is the most effective, you don't just throw it out of the box, you know? You don't just forfeit it completely. And there's a reason people fought so hard for so many of the things that we are able to benefit from today. There's a reason that people fought so hard for that because it was brutal. Brutal, you know? Just brutal. And right now, we are seeing things be rolled back at a rapid pace, you know? People are starving. People can't afford to live. The wages are stagnant, frozen. The cost of living is skyrocketing. Like, what people went through, and many people have been going through, it was brutal. Not able to get the care that you needed. Dying from that could have been treated, preventable. That's where we're going. That's what we're getting. You know, yes. Throw the trannies in the volcano. Great. But what the does that have to do with your glaucoma? Your grandma can't afford to pay her light bill and buy groceries. What does that have to do with trans people? You hate black people so much. You hate women so much. What does that have to do with the $7.25 you're getting paid? Is your rent as cheap as how much you are being paid? That's what I'm always wondering. I hope all of this is worth it. That's really what I'm always thinking. I just hope all of this was worth it. Send women back. You know, the SAVE Act is coming, honey. You know, arguing about should trannies be able to take a goddamn in a porcelain commode in a dirty ass bathroom with a bald-headed skirt on the door. Now you can afford to live. Now you can't vote. I don't want trans people being able to change their license. I don't want trans people being able to update their birth certificates. I don't want faggots being able to get married. Now, one vote, one household. Hope it's worth it. What a show. This was fun. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this. I was in a weird mood when I first started this. I had to do a whole 15-minute recording that will never see the light of day because my eyes are so sad and I'm just in a weird mood. I don't even know what's going on. But this is fun. If you actually watch this whole thing, thank you. This is the first of many episodes of my YouTube series podcast. I look forward to getting some more help with producing and doing things of that nature, but also just getting better myself. I also look forward to, just growing in my voice, growing in my reach. I look forward to being able to interview people. I'm looking forward to a clearer format. I just had to get my thoughts out today, in my dream situation. I open us up. We go into my digest where I talk about, the hot topics. And then I go into, Ask Aaron, which is a little piece of advice. I've been giving unsolicited advice for, I feel like, as long as I could talk. And I've recently stopped, actually, therapy, journaling, realizing that I'm not everybody's goddamn mama, has stopped me from just giving unsolicited advice to folks. But I have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, Sometimes I even feel like I could be a consultant to the whole world because, I just feel like I know better. Like, for instance, lotion bottles need to be updated. There's no reason I should be wringing a bottle of lotion out when they're there is no reason I should have to wring out a bottle of lotion when there is still lotion inside of the container. Fix it. Maybe a screw of some sort, in the bottom. Something so that you twist it and the thing moves up. Ooh, this probably already exists. But imagine it's like a top, right? Okay. At the bottom, it's like a little platform. You fill the lotion with the bottom and the platform. And as you push, the platform is moving everything up. So when you hit it and nothing comes out, it means there is nothing in there. I might be late. This probably exists already. So that's not the best example. But do you see what I'm saying? Ask me anything. I want to talk about relationships. I want to talk about work. I want to talk about just anything. So, this is me just breaking the ice. And yeah, thanks for watching. More to come soon. And what's today? It's Sunday. So, when you see this, it might not be Sunday though. Well, it. It's Sunday for me. Happy Sunday. Thanks for watching.